I'm bringing a trailer with me to the shootout this year. I know you guys are dying to see what's in it. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you now, there's...
Big Red got its first modification aside from a glorious scratch that I put on it. Got me some prosthetic tow mirrors. But despite all my forethought and preparations, I still got a late start to the shootout because I lost my trailer hitch key. The 3 of clubs was set to 2-inch for boat and tow dolly things, not the 2 5/16 inch ball for doing big gigantic trailer things. I made it to Norwalk incident free and rolled out to the track the next morning to find VIP parking with all my friends at the 30th annual DSM GTR shootout.
There's nothing in it. I didn't put anything in it.
Since I experienced this event over a dozen years ago, I haven't been able to put it down. It's my favorite week of the year now. If you love DSMs and you want to be where all the other people who love DSMs are, where all the parts are, where all the fast cars are, and where a lot of the most creative minds in performance parts manufacturing are, then for this week of every year, there's really nowhere better that you can possibly be. Plus, there's racing here too. You don't have to be smart or creative to race. We all do it. But my goal this year was to find critical parts for the projects that you watch me work on here on this channel and take up as much space as I possibly could in VIP parking without really making good use of it. There are always tables and lots of paved real estate full of things that you can't buy new anymore. There are lots of people who dedicate their time and effort to ensure that all of you can still get them. Ryan Bowersox is one of those people, and I know some of you out there are seeing things that you probably need already. He helped me find a few rare items that I was looking for. There you go, Ryan Bowersox, Bowersox98 DSM on Instagram. Another source is DSM Alley. Whether it's 1G or 2G, sensors, trim parts, controls, fuel system parts, shifter boots, body parts, we're talking about DSMs here. You can find DSM Alley on Facebook as well. And I really wish that my audio was working. I relied too heavily on it for documenting this while taking my audio gear completely for granted. Let it be known that this is not the same thing as this. That's why I'm narrating everything here. I located the 2 most difficult mission-critical parts that I haven't been able to find anywhere else for the past 10 months at the Twins Parts Collection. You won't find the Twins on the socials. You're just going to have to come to the shootout for a shot at buying any of the things that you're seeing here. I have been unable to find 4-bolt axle cups to complete a Gallant rear end upgrade, but now I've got them. Still wouldn't mind having another set, but I'd have 0 of them right now without the twins' help and sharing their personal parts hoard with me. Huge thanks, guys. Totally solved my dilemma for both me and my viewers. It was a great thing to see Tunes and Tunes again, and we just got together for a thumbnail. There's no touching or eye contact, just plain old thumbnails. It's always good to see Snoopy too, and just like previous years, they brought their spare parts hoard for the needy. Go subscribe to those guys. I did. Twice now, actually. There's Jesse. On Friday, I was busy hunting the elusive parts while he was having the full shootout experience. And by that I mean breaking parts and fixing it to get out there and do it some more. Turbocharger this time. DSMmachining.com makes quality replacement bushings and shoes for the engine base side of the shifter assembly. Usually when people think shifter bushings, they're thinking inside the car, but these bushings take all the slop out of the opposite side of the shifter cables at the transmission linkage. Really neat stuff. He also makes timing tensioner bushings as well. If only my microphone was working here. DSMmachining.com. A Canadian business bringing DSM parts I need to the lower 48. Speaking of Canadian businesses bringing great parts here, Magnus Motorsports is very well represented in my GSX's engine bay, and there's stuff that you've seen, stuff that you haven't, that I found here at the shootout. Every brain at this event that you'd ever want to pick, every question you'd ever want solved, whatever level of quality your build requires, all the people supporting our community with all the best parts are right here sponsoring these events. And we're not only fans of them, they're obviously huge fans of us. Nothing else proves that more than seeing table after table after table of new custom fabricated parts for the 4G63s that once bit us and started this whole thing 30 years ago. They all come here for this weekend. This is a party, wholly sponsored by legends and geniuses. This year, the shootout broke records for payouts, and I couldn't walk 30 feet without meeting someone, buying something, or eating something. There's plenty of friends of mine on the track, too, so let's go watch some racing. This is my pit neighbor for like the 4th year now, and this time Rob's making a pass without me.
Part of that, Will Morgan and Rob O'Grady. Morgan is out in front, and Morgan will be your winner.
Nice mile per hour, bro. I can't show all the races here, but Miguel DSM can from right here on the tubes. Really, he's from California, but he came to the shootout by way of Tijuana to provide you with great up-close coverage of what a first shootout experience is like, and to get you up close and personal with the racing action and events. If you're not subscribed to him already, you should go check him out. You'll quickly be able to tell from my footage, though, that I got a soft spot for CSM hatchbacks. If you've got that same soft spot too, go check out CSM TV. Aaron Anderson makes some great videos. He's just giving her the beans on a byrun for you. I love it. Go on, Snoopy.
By virtue of the reaction time.
Wow.
Jafro will get the win by 978, 119 miles an hour. Again, we need Eco Boost and our bracket finalists from the finish line. The staging lines and our A90 Supras. Southern side of the racetrack. And the dark colored car, the white machine. 156 to an 855 163. Out in front. Eases on through 889, 883, 159 miles an hour. What we're seeing here is luck. But you know what? At the end of the day, just a blink here. She might have been hoping something would go south, and she's just going to ease on down the racetrack. So Team Mitsubishi breathes a sigh of relief getting past the sorceress, who's... Well, here he is, Kevin Jewer, 92 Eagle Talon converted to rear-wheel drive. Big starting line advantage, 792, 180 miles an hour.
Those are some fast cars, and I loved seeing all of it. I found more than everything I was looking for, like a complete set of 1990 clear lenses for my friend Abe's 1G. Thank you, Reggie. Abe couldn't be here to pick these himself, but he's done so much to help me out that I couldn't let them get away. He needs them. I had to leave early because the shootout was really just my halfway stop for the actual destination, and I couldn't have planned a better location to do that stop. My experience here was very different than most everyone else's shootout this year, but there are 1,000 parallel stories that are all going on here at once, and it's impossible for me to cover all of it. You can't tell every story. It's kind of a choose-your-adventure sort of thing. This event is always a blast, and that's why you should watch everyone else's 30th shootout videos. It was a really good time. My 30th shootout week actually marks just the beginning of a completely different story that's already been 4 years in the making. Sunday afternoon, I left to push another 6 hours west into Carpentersville to help a great friend I met online, and by the end of this video, you're really going to scratch your head and ask yourself who's helping whom. Before I get into the details, I'll just do the cliff notes. I'm here to pick up a car. Big Red was the right tool for the job. This is a steep driveway, and I stuffed that 24-foot trailer between the fence posts uphill in 4 low on the first try without scraping anywhere. I just had to use up some of the lawn to do it, beg my pardon. John Cook is a longtime subscriber of mine. He's an avid DSMer. He works for one of the DSM partner manufacturers as a parts guy and has always fancied the Gallants. He was always seeking to build the one he wanted, and he found it at auction back in 2011 in Atlanta. His buddy agreed to travel there on a one-way bus ticket and drive it back, and that's how 148 found its way to Illinois. It was driven for less than 1,000 miles after it was bought and promptly disassembled for restoration. As a DSMer, a parts guy, and a collector of Gallants he used both for transportation and parts, he gathered everything to fully restore it. You can clearly see all of these parts are far more than what's necessary to restore only one Gallant. The garage was filled end to end with Gallants and boxes upon boxes of new and rare used parts that were moved to clear a path for what's about to come next. John and I started talking about doing this back in 2019. I'm here by his invitation. The offer he presented me with was both gut-wrenching for me and too good to be true at the same time, and I'll explain this. I was given permission to tell this car story, and I was actually aware of its existence before he owned it because of my own Gallant pursuits. I was looking around trying to evaluate these cars, and I stumbled across the auction thread in the Gallant VR4 forums for number 148 here. The car had less than 100,000 miles on it, was black on black with no sunroof. When John bought it, he already owned 2 other Gallants, and even 2 others prior to those. In only 2 decades' time, they had all completely lost the war with the Illinois road salt. One donor chassis was 1929. It's the white one that this camera's stuck to right now. It's officially passed away at this point. The red Gallant is an 89 GS with a 5-speed. Both are so rusty that if you attempt to jack them up, it'll go right through the frame. But number 148 just isn't that kind of car. Between its trim level and its condition, that's the reason why he picked it. He has very good taste. But right as he got to the thick of disassembly and machining, he suffered from kidney failure. Dialysis sustains him today. That's a difficult thing for anyone to have to adapt to, and it leaves him in circumstances where he's unable to enjoy this pursuit in the first person anymore. His priorities are his house, his job, good meals, his 3 enormous dogs, and his tiny girlfriend of almost 3 decades. That's everything to him that matters, and I respect his resolve in fighting for all of it. But he cares enough about my purpose here on YouTube and all of you watching to do something really incredible. Over the last 4 years getting to know John, I now fully understand why our paths have crossed. I'm 51 now, and I've got a better understanding of my own mortality and the way life circumstances changes all of our priorities over time. When John bought this car, he didn't know this was going to happen to him. He felt guilty for taking it apart and then having this all go down, but all of us know that's not his fault. I'd have a pretty good understanding of how I'd feel if I were in his shoes, because my brain does exactly the same thing to me all the time. The most help I could give him is to give him his space back to focus on his new normal without that daily reminder. And really, I want him to see it get put back together again to put his mind at ease. So I decided to take this one on. It was a 1,700-mile round trip at 9.3 miles per gallon with a 24-foot enclosed trailer just to pull this move off, and this was a whole lot of work and logistics and years of planning and effort to make this part happen, but this creates many more challenges for me beyond just moving it. My plans and efforts for the past 4 years have all accommodated the restoration of this car, even though I thought from the beginning that none of this would ever be possible. I didn't want to dangle any carrots in front of my audience or jinx it until it was all real and was happening. And if I wasn't working so hard to get the shop, the circle of friends at work, also the circle of friends in my shop, and here on Patreon that came together and helped me pull off this incredible journey, if I didn't earn your trust and support that helped me make all these videos and encouraged me to do all of this, then I wouldn't have met John, and I couldn't have accommodated any of this, and number 148 might have disappeared. So thank you, all of you. I'm doing this for John. John did this for you, and Jafro's bringing this low-mile Southern Belle back to life for everyone else to enjoy. This also changes the future of the Galant VR4 that I already have. He said he wanted my viewers to see this car and all of these parts, and there's more than enough here to complete both of those cars. This is probably the most significant plot twist that these 2 disassembled Galants' lives could ever have, because I want to give both of them an extraordinary future. His gift is saving 2 VR4s. John is the living example of how salvation is achieved through sacrifice, and that's the stuff that legends are made of. Due to his kind-hearted nature, he knew that giving all of this to all of you would do the most good for the car, so he let it go. And by letting it go, he actually kept his ability to see it restored. I want to make this happen. He definitely deserves to see it, and he wanted you to see it, so I'm going to share this incredible stockpile of unobtainable parts with my audience so that many other people still in the fight for preservation can enjoy seeing it happen. It makes for some really good nostalgia opening brand new factory sealed parts. And what I can't use in my projects, I'll sell once they're both complete. Please don't send me offers for parts, not yet. Some of the parts he included we'll experiment with on the dyno. I'm here just to encourage everyone that's able to and who will accept this challenge. Please, save these great old cars. In doing so, you're not just helping yourself, you're helping other people too. There's so many out there that are worth it. Our lives are measured by the books we read, the people we meet, and the places we go. Chances are that 2 out of 3 of those things will almost always involve a car. You will develop skills, find opportunities, and make friends and memories along that journey that are going to last you your whole life. Remember that it's only the used cars that can ever tell anyone a story. I spent the whole day Monday loading the trailer. I packed the trunk of the car with parts, the tongue of the trailer with all the light stuff, and all the heavy engine and driveline parts into the bed of my truck for stability. I worked into the night pulling parts and packing before breaking bread with John and then getting some rest. The next morning I finished up what I could, but out of time and in the rain I had to leave so that I could make it back to work on Thursday. I'm at least 14 hours from home, despite anything this map says. This is a passenger car estimate. Add all the fuel stops and it's really about 16 hours. It takes a different level of focus being 50 feet long, this heavy, and this wide. I'm weighing in at around 14,000 pounds now, and I learned 8 to 10 hours is about all I feel comfortable doing with a trailer. I made arrangements to stop at Tony and Breeze like I did in a previous Shootout video in I think 2018. His fabrication skills are impeccable, and his success in life has been exponential over everything I've achieved so far because he didn't fall into all the same traps that I did. So basically what I'm saying is, he's smarter than I am. Once I arrived, we discovered the Gallant had been leaking 12-year-old gas all over the trailer, which I totally didn't expect. So we drained the tank, opened it up, got some food, burned some dead brush and yard debris, and now this video is about rock bouncers. Why not? This isn't the rock bouncer, this is a daily driver. This is Havoc 2, a posh loaded JK Rubicon that followed after the original Havoc build. Havoc, or Havoc Reloaded as it's been through many rounds of modifications, is an LS Swap Jeep TJ, and you can see it over there with the white cage in the background behind Havoc Rematch, which is the third chassis to enter the ring. All the Jeeps in here have the same suspension, same height, same droop, and Tony designed, cut, and fabricated every single part of this chassis and suspension that doesn't say King on it himself.
So then, here's the droop. Now it's off the ground.
Wow. That's a lot of droop.
So, 24 inches of travel.
24 inches. 24 inches to the bumper. Good job, Tony. You put together a beast. There's the original.
Yep.
Havoc 1.
For sale, it's got 40-inch tires.
For sale.
1 ton axles, LS.
Yep.
It'll go anywhere.
Full King suspension.
Yeah, coilovers and triple bypass shocks.
Nice.
Sway bars on both ends. It'll do 70, 80 mile an hour down a railroad bed, jumping the whoops.
Nice.
Front and rear winches,
Spare tire.
spare tire. Yep.
Analog instrumentation.
Yep.
My previous successful visit to see Tony involved an almost finished shop, Havoc Reloaded, and Havoc 2, showing off what they're capable of doing on an articulation ramp in his backyard.
Yeah, they are. I'm gonna get a shot of this from the back. Hold on.
I knew all about Havoc already, but this was the first time I saw it in its reloaded state. I really wanted to go for a romp, but my schedule didn't let me. This was also the first time I got to meet the JK that became Havoc 2 and got to see it in action.
You should put this in your front yard.
What he's demonstrating here is that this off-road suspension works just fine for a daily driver, as it also does for a buggy. In fact, it works so well, why change that when it comes to Havoc Rematch? They've all got the same proven setup. Havoc Rematch is an example of change everything else in order to perfect the off-road experience. Got a brand new LS crate motor coupled to a 4L80E rock crusher that's very gentle on the earth thanks to massive TSL super swampers. I already know those are the best off-road tires available thanks to my cousin Greg proving it to me in my youth. If all of that isn't enough, it's tuned to perfection on Holley EFI to maximize efficiency and power for every kind of condition Tony can put it through. Straps, dry box, refrigerator, toolkit, front and rear Smitty-built winches, compressor, fire extinguisher, 4-point safety harnesses, radio headsets, you name it. Interior fans keep you cool too. Whether you want to roll flat out in Death Valley, play around at sea level, or climb mountaintops with us, this thing can do it all. I woke up early the next morning for some victuals and to grab some caffeine and something that didn't have a trailer on it to complete the final leg of my trip. And oh, what a treat! We're taking Rematch. week before this, I was driving to work in really bad rush hour traffic, anxiously awaiting 5 o'clock so that I could pack it up, hit the road, and set out on this incredible journey to the Shootout, to meet John and begin this opportunity for all of you watching by collecting number 148 of 2000 and all of these great parts that are going to make a better example of both cars. This week has totally spoiled me. To meet and hang out with so many great people at the Shootout and everywhere I went, I wasn't expecting to be doing this at all, but I always knew that it could be a possibility. It turns out that everything in Tony's garage is street legal in Ohio, and you don't see this at all where I live. This is the broadest departure from normalcy that I could ever have for a morning caffeine run. And if I had this in my daily life, I don't think I'd need the caffeine anymore. There's a dry box back there so I could bring a change of clothes and underwear with me that weren't all muddy, but I think that the hair would have to go. You feel like you're on top of the world riding in this thing. This is a really awesome township that seems to offer a great mix of everything. The people are really friendly, and I quickly found everything that I came for.
I'm not opening it. I know what you're gonna do to me if I crack the lid on it.
I'll have to jump somewhere.
Just set that down while I climb in.
Everywhere you go in this thing, people are smiling, people are waving, people are walking out of buildings to give you a thumbs up and take pictures of it. Everyone's looking at it in traffic, everyone's wondering who you're talking to on the headsets, but we're always on a closed circuit unless we push the right button. That feature comes in handy when you're spotting for other people out on the trails. Everyone out there likes to look out for one another. This thing has all the right features. This much fun seems like it should be illegal, but even the cops love it. My camera didn't capture the big grin and a wave, but we gave it right back. Wait, why am I going home now? I love it here.
Makes the cops happy. There's nothing this doesn't do.
At the next left, we took the exit towards Guatemala, and this is what happened. was just expecting to go to the store, but this is really the best way to ever start your day. Right when I didn't think that my week could get any better, Tony raises the bar on me. And now I have an even higher high to have to fall back down into my pit of despair from after this. Tony's cracking me up in the headset this whole way. You can't hear our conversation, but we can.
Excellent. What a treat. What a treat. Oh, this is great. Oh, yeah?
Just like the scenery here, this world is full of blessings for you to receive, and absolutely none of it comes without challenges and sacrifice. It's our common interest in that struggle that brought us all together in the first place, to learn from one another about how to overcome these things. In the moment, you'll never realize the impact you make on others whom you help. But it's always because of this cycle of gratitude that you'll find others willing to help you. Feed that cycle, participate in it. It's good for everybody. I don't think I can make a better video to demonstrate this. It's why we still have a shootout after 30 years. It's how I met people like Tony on my journey, and it's how number 148 of 2000 found its way back to getting the attention it deserves. John is feeding that cycle. And now here I am doing this. Regarding the journey that I'm already on, I can't think of a single thing that I could do to recharge my batteries better than waking up and doing all of this. I'm sure that you heard me laughing almost continuously throughout it. Thank you, Tony. But I have to be back at work tomorrow, and I've got a whole lot of distance to do before the real work begins.
Now I'm gonna have the most boring drive all the way back for 7 hours. It's like, oh man. This is gonna be one hard weekend to match. Very hard weekend to match for me.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of fun I've been able to pack into. And,
Yeah. Close time.
yeah. Some cool shit I got to do. The cop waving. If I can get that out of the video, I'll be a happy camper. If I can get that.
The day only got better as it went on. Fully refueled and recharged, and with all the flammable liquids removed from the trailer I'm pulling, I made the remaining trip home without incident. Weekday traffic being light and missing all the metropolitan areas during rush hour was a huge plus. Quality time with my faithful steed. By the 7th day pulling the trailer around, I'm starting to like it. I got to drive through parts of the country that I've never seen from the road, and every minute of this trip's been a learning experience for me. But now I've got to unload all the fun I've been having. Sort of unfair to have all the fun and then have to do the work for having had it, but it's like that sometimes. It's okay, it only leads to having more fun later.
The bug collection's nothing like Georgia. Now I've got these things for a later date. They just unscrew. They have a little piece in here that slides in. It slides right off.
If you've never pulled a trailer before, my advice to you before you go is stock up on come-along straps, a tarp, bungees, or other tie-downs, and also bring plenty of pieces of lumber because they'll save you a lot of time and effort if you have to decouple, and they can also serve as wheel chocks. Bring a jack that can lift a trailer, bring spare tires, a tire pressure gauge, a crossbar, and that's very important. Pay attention to your tire pressures and check your lugs periodically, especially on newer trailers because they can loosen over time. Nothing will dampen your journey worse than a tire or a wheel problem. Check your lights, have mirrors that can see around the trailer, follow the outside line of every turn and curve in the road to keep your trailer in its lane. Also, always set your e-brake when parked or for loading and unloading. But for the kind of unloading that I'm doing right now, really, you just need to lift with your legs. And I'm really just getting started here. There's twice as much stuff loaded all around the car, and I even filled the interior and the trunk of it too. But Abe came by to help me unload all of it, working through the rain. We made some plans to do a future video that I already started back in the past, but we both felt it better to move the trailer and unload the car once the weather cleared up. So we quit for now. I can't imagine how that made number 148 feel after all this commotion, having to sit in that dark box all alone for days, not knowing if the door would ever open again or what its new neighbors were going to be like. With all the Evos, DSMs, Gallants, Colts, and even a 4G63 powered Elantra, and all the DSM parts inside and out and all over the place, both here and at home, every day is its own sort of shootout. Little does it know, my plan is to unload it as the cream filling of a DSM sandwich with the cherry on top. Give it a chance to get to know everybody. The 1229 didn't even flinch. Actually, I think he digs it. He was outnumbered in here 2-1 with 2G GSXs, and now I've evened the score. The GSX isn't leaking anything on it, and I'd take that as a good sign. Call it a win all around so far. The way I prepared these established projects for this introduction is to let the cars first get to know the parts of the new car that I'm about to introduce. Let them become familiar with what they are, their smell, etc. After a few days, you can usually introduce the new chassis to the established projects without too many problems. Being that all the new parts were already so familiar, they were well prepared for this reception. I completed this 4-year-long promise, and I put together a great team of friends while making all this possible. I'm grateful to John, I'm thankful for all of you, and I think everyone's going to get along just fine around here. Please give honor to the legends sponsoring me on Patreon, who are solely responsible for my survival here. If you can't join them on Patreon, then go out and do a thing in their honor. Until next time, stay tuned.